I was attracted to You Control You because freedom, as in the power to choose, for me is all about discovering what can we choose? Like another way of saying is what can we cause? One of the things that I ran into when I started studying men 35 years ago with the question that popped into my head, what if men are responding to women? That both men and women are trying to cause the other person to behave in a certain way. They want to control I want to control you. And no, you can only control you. You really can only control you. And what I've seen in what I call instances of being related, because we've discovered one of the biggest problems is we think we have a relationship, and there's no such thing as a relationship. Show me one. Really, show me one. But we have a belief in relationship, and that it's like this vault that holds all the love and all the injury. And we've got to keep overcoming the injury, and we can count on that love to sustain us when we're being shitty to each other. No, there's nothing holding it together. It's in this instance of being related. What can you control? You can cause how you're being. And I've spent decades studying how to do that. You can cause how you're listening. Are you just having a default human listening? What do I know about that? What do I think about that? Do I agree with that? What's this have to do with me? What's the point? What's the problem? What do you need from me? What do you need from me? What do you need from me? I mean, there's these ordinary, normal way questions that go at the top of our head. And you'll like this, Mark Shaw Evans. You'll like this. We can actually tell what people are listening with by what compels them to interrupt. Now, because like you just started a conversation. What you said is the impetus of a conversation I'm having with myself. So what do I think about that? Boom! Interrupted sand.
Shit, I'm about to go wait in this place when you dropping the bass in. The beat is at the streets of awakening. I'm making to break my foot off of somebody's ass. I'm waiting for someone to say my name so I can annihilate them. Okay, yeah. Everyone was screaming the rape when I was kicking at the gate till it caved in. Belly scraping by, but now I'm paid. Look at the paper I raked and I'm caking like Jay-Z and Drake. And I hate when people say that I ain't killing shit. The game is my playpen. I punch you in the face and end up breaking your break bands. I'm far from Hollywood. I'm posted up at the days in. Even though the industry say I'm the latest sensation. Drop the song at the award show. Becoming complacent. Mama saw me on TV with just a bum in the basement. You a cat and save a whole you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You Control You podcast. You already know. Mark Shaw Evans here. What I'm grateful most for today, God, family, life, being here, feeling blessed, doing another episode with all of you. And I'm extremely grateful for this person that's joining us today, Alison Armstrong, author, therapist. Is that the right word?
No, never. Educator.
That's about. I was searching for the right word. Educator, and someone that I listen to on a daily basis, and whether it's her interviews or the way she's interacting with people or videos. So I look forward to everybody else enjoying this and learning from Alison as she shares knowledge and wisdom beyond belief. So, Alison, what are you most grateful for?
Oh, wow. Well, it may sound funny, but I'm grateful for what gratitude does to our nervous systems. Talk about powerful.
Yes.
And I'm grateful to be back home with my partner. I was gone for almost 6 weeks looking after my elderly mother, which was like trying to manage two lives at the same time, my own and hers. It was crazy.
I bet.
It was crazy. And I I'm teasing. I'm going to write a book called The Upside of Dementia, because my mother's personality has changed so much as parts of her brain have become inaccessible to her. And we laughed more in the last 6 months than we did. I couldn't even say in my entire life, because we hardly ever did. Like, it's anything times zero is still going to be zero, right? So it's just like more than 3 lifetimes altogether. And she's just so different. And one of the things she is grateful. And she's never, ever been grateful. She's been entitled. And that's a big problem. Entitlement in all kinds of relating, whatever the context. Entitlement is tricky. And I did a program called Feels Like Love, Looks Like Math. And it's on our website, but it starts with people writing down what are the things that people do that has them feel loved. And then I set out to show them why those things hardly ever happen the first time, the next time, and sustainably virtually never. And the first part of that is that people believe in deserving. They believe in entitlement. They believe in, I have earned this because of who I am and all I've done. And, I deserve this. And they think if they think they deserve something and the other person agrees that they deserve it, that it's a done deal.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that's what women think, especially.
Oh, we're gonna unpack that for sure today.
Yeah. So, okay, well, we'll go there. And to finish answering your question that we started before we realized push go, I was attracted to You Control You because freedom, as in the power to choose, for me is all about discovering what can we choose. Like another way of saying is, what can we cause? One of the things that I ran into when I started studying men 35 years ago, with the question that popped into my head, what if men are responding to women? That both men and women are trying to cause the other person to behave in a certain way. They want to control I want to control you. And no, you can only control you. You really can only control you. And what I've seen in what I call instances of being related, because we've discovered one of the biggest problems is we think we have a relationship, and there's no such thing as a relationship. Show me one. Really, show me one. But we have a belief in relationship, and that it's like this vault that holds all the love and all the injury. And we've got to keep overcoming the injury, and we can count on that love to sustain us when we're being shitty to each other. No, there's nothing holding it together. It's in this instance of being related. What can you control? You can cause how you're being. And I've spent decades studying how to do that. You can cause how you're listening. Are you just having a default human listening? What do I know about that? What do I think about that? Do I agree with that? What's this have to do with me? What's the point? What's the problem? What do you need from me? What do you need from me? What do you need from me? I mean, there's these ordinary, normal questions that go at the top of our head. And you'll like this, Mark Shaw Evans. You'll like this. We can actually tell what people are listening with by what compels them to interrupt. Now, because like you just started a conversation. What you said is the impetus of a conversation I'm having with myself. So what do I think about that? Boom! Interrupt and say it.
So
Yeah. This causes a lot of problems.
yes. So this is just going to be an epic conversation. So one of the things that I've been talking with multiple women. So my wife has her own community within the gym. Basically, they play D&D. All these ladies hang out, and it's always at our house. And so I'm listening to these conversations sometimes, and then I have conversations with some of these women because I'm also the coach. And so,
Yes.
and one of the topics happened to be interrupting. And I shared with one of the women, I gave them the Queen's Code, right? Or I told them to read it and sent them a couple clips of you talking about interrupting. And they talked about how they literally had to go like this to keep from speaking and allow their husband to finish the statement. And I was like, why is that so difficult? I didn't understand it because I can sit here and listen to someone and not say a word, and that's not a problem. And I didn't understand it until I listened to you talk about it. And then there's just the way you described it, just do, 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 do. And I was like, wow, is it really that difficult for women to really just sit there and allow the man or their husband, their significant other, to unpack their entire thought process, even when they pause?
Yes. It's that difficult for a number of reasons. And I just want to say, to be fair, men interrupt each other as much as women, but it's for a different reason. So what I define as interrupting, most women would call having a conversation. And it comes from, and this is if you get this, the whole world can change. It comes from that we don't have the same purpose to our speaking, which is the third thing that we can cause. So how are we being? What are we listening for? And what are we speaking to or for or towards? And much of our speaking is instinctual. A very high percentage is instinctual. So it's either for the purpose of moving things along to produce a result, if we're organized around productivity, or it's for the purpose of causing connection. And those are two very different orientations: security through productivity, safety through connection. And so in what we call a conversation, but what about? Oh, me too. Oh, yeah. That is because what we're trying to do is connect. And most women, the Queen's Code is only reached, I don't know how many. It's out of control. We published it on the internet on purpose so it would get out of control. But so let's say there's 1 million women who've heard about what interrupting does to men. And most women just don't know that he's literally on a train of thought. And the interruption has the train run off the tracks. And if it's going to get back on the tracks, you got to wait for them to call the engineer and the team. It's a huge effort to get it back on the tracks. And so best to just hold your questions, or mentally put a pin in it. And if you're listening for something better than, what does this have to do with me, or what does he need from me, which are defaults for most women, or do I agree with that? Do I think he's right? How is he wrong this time? I mean, our listening, both men and women, young people too, our listening is a filter. And it's either a trash hunt or a treasure hunt. And sometimes we're just hunting ourselves. Is that true for me? Is that true? No, that's not true for me. What is true for me? Like we're not actually there with the other person. And what we call listening to learn, versions of what matters to them, what's important to them, what do they care about, what's true for them. With my mother, I've been practicing what's real for her. And then I don't need to keep setting the record straight of what happened, which I would interrupt in order to know like, just, it's real for her that it did. And it's very real for her. So, okay. I became, over the 6 weeks I was with her, I became more and more competent in being able to move things along that I was there to move along, and not get caught in reconciliation that was never going to turn out. But that's often what we'll do. Like, I'm so sorry, men. I'm so very sorry. Women, because of our instinct to give what we call a meta report, which means we're reporting back to our tribe, our team members, on everything we saw, heard, felt, observed, and when, and the location of it, so that if I die or break a leg, you can go back there and get the berries to feed the whole tribe. And so the reporting and the accuracy of the reporting is very much a part of our makeup instinctually. And we don't distinguish between that and a story. That the story based on true incidences, derived from actual occurrences. So we're listening to a story like a report, and I wish I were exaggerating. When a man says, well, and then on Tuesday, no, it was Wednesday. What does that matter? And
Corey's laughing too.
And what we think is, what else does he lie about? That's what we think. We're so scared. If he'll lie about what day it was, what else will he lie about? Anything. He'll lie about anything. Oh my God. How do I trust anything? How do I trust what's real? My life is in danger.
Wow.
Yeah. Just because we don't know, stories can be compilations. That was huge when I found out, oh yeah, it can even be a compilation. What? Or the same story can be told for a different point, the speaking to, right? Am I telling it to teach? Am I telling it to up my status? Am I telling it to, just bring it down a little and be humble so people relate to me better? What am I telling this story for? And so something else will take the centerpiece of the story, and they'll interrupt you because you're not emphasizing their favorite part like you did before.
Yeah.
You're ruining the story. Here, let me tell it.
Oh.
It's my story.
Yes.
So
wow, that's
go
ahead.
Yeah. So all these things are happening that, and mostly not knowing the consequence. Women interrupt because they don't know that the treasure, the jewels, the feelings, the emotions, the truths are purposefully behind walls. They're protected for a reason. And you have to wait patiently and listening in a way that's about him, not you, for him to be willing to, well, let's try opening this door and see how that goes. Wow, she's still listening. She's curious. What comes from the word to care, right? Oh, she cares. Okay, well, what else could I tell her? What else? Yeah, and that's honestly 35 years ago. You must have heard me say it because it's true. I knew men were superficial. I knew men had no feelings, so it didn't matter what I did; it wouldn't hurt them. I questioned if they had souls. I knew they were lesser humans then women like clearly were, and of course everybody thinks men suck at relationships, but you don't. And I didn't know that how women think men are superficial has everything to do with A, not listening long enough, B, not knowing that of course you're a warrior. You're going to protect anything that can be used against you. That's the default, is to protect. It's not personal. What is personal and based on her is if you prove to a man that you're on his side, on his team, you got his back, even if you think he's wrong, which I had to unpack that for women. What? Even when he's wrong? Yeah. Even when he's wrong. That's what it really comes down to. Do you have his back even when you think he's wrong? Or do you jump horses? Because there's a faster one going by and you think your survival's percentage is higher, so you jump horses. And that you won't use what he's revealing to you against him by turning it back to him. Or remember, you said, right? And the thing that most women are the most oblivious to is that you tell me something special. Now I go tell people what you told me so they know how special I am that you told me. It's all about elevating status. And this is what I mean by how are you being, what are you listening for? What are you speaking to? What is the point of your speaking? And one of the things most men don't know about women is a lot of times the point of our speaking is just to make sure someone's speaking, because we've got to make sure the critters know we're coming so they get out of the way and don't bite us. And silence is dangerous.
Wow.
And why won't you guys pick up your part of this? Like, I've had to talk this entire time.
I never even thought about tracing that aspect all the way just to biology. Mm-hmm. That's incredible, because when I think about especially in my gym where I can recognize triggers, and I don't worry about them too much with everyday students that are coming there. They want to work out, they want to learn something. That's great. I recognize their triggers, and if I see something happening, I'll talk to them about it. But with my fighters, I push the trigger. And it's because I need them to take control of that so they don't lose it in the ring or cage. Yeah. And we have to start shelling this out. And usually every time I get a new group of fighters, I'll have one female fighter that can't just stand in a square and just say nothing. That is what makes her feel utterly uncomfortable. And I never thought about it from a biology aspect, where it's very hard just to be left in your own mind, just to be left to your own devices and be silent and just let your brain wander, because it seems so simple to do that. It's like, yeah, I'm just quiet and enjoying things. I never once thought about it as far as biology. That's actually incredible. And thank you for sharing that. That changes the whole outlook of things a little bit. And I'm still going to push the trigger with them, but it makes me even look at my daughter and my wife. I have a soon-to-be 22-year-old daughter, and so how I look at things, they're always wanting to talk about something, but never really wanting to listen to what I have to say all the time. And so it's like, it makes sense now. It's like, oh, this is more biology. Okay, so now that gives me a little more feedback.
Well, I was just thinking about my son was 17 when we recorded the now antiquated Understanding Women, which people can get on Amazon and on Audible, and it's worth it, but it's just women in gathering mode. And women identify more with that they're hunting and that they're organized around productivity these days. And so we completely redid it in 2013, and that's what's on our website and our online curriculum. But my son was there, and he was listening very carefully, and then he told me the next day, he said, yeah, when I got home from the course last night, Claire, who's 5 years younger than he is, Claire was telling me all about her friends and this friend and that friend and another friend. And at first I thought it had something to do with what I said, and I realized it didn't. And then I was trying to figure out what the point is. And then I remembered you teaching us there is no point. And then I remember what you said. Oh, that she's telling me this means she trusts me.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so she may not
That's
listen to you
amazing.
for another 10 years, but if she keeps telling you things, that's so good. Even if you don't even know
Yes.
who she's talking about, that she's telling you. Because when we don't trust somebody, we don't report on anything. How was the party? Fine. Who was there? People. We won't say anything. We don't trust you.
That sounds like most guys' responses right there.
Exactly. Like if I tell you that you're gonna steal the berries, you're not gonna bring them back. So I'm not gonna tell you that because you're not really my tribe. And oh my gosh, the instincts are huge, and we have conflicting instincts. I mean, we literally have opposite sexes opposing instincts, and we set each other off all the time.
Which sort of is the lane I wanted to turn into. So that was a perfect transition. I stated before we started recording, I talk to a lot of men, and I usually give them advice, and it's like, and it's funny when I give them advice, I'm still trying to learn this and follow my own damn advice. It's rough some days. It's like,
Yes.
and but I wonder if, basically the question is, how I don't want to say teach, but what can men do to help make the relationships healthier and better when we know there's a difference? We're okay that she's different, and we're okay with that. But more and more I see and I hear women wanting men to communicate with them like they're one of the girlfriends. And what are you doing? Please don't do that to this man. Let him be who he is. And so how does a man help himself and help the relationship and help her understand that we are different, our needs are different, our priorities are different, and it's because of those differences that actually can make our relationship blossom even more, at least in my mind. And if I'm, and I think I'm getting it right based on things that I've heard you say before. So how does a man go forward with that?
Oh boy. That is such a big question. And first, if I may, I would have all your men go to AlisonArmstrong.com, click on free pick Understanding Women sample. And it'll give you 30 minutes of the very early parts of our Understanding Women online course. And it is about the biggest thing that men don't know that is central to understanding women. And if you know this, you have access to everything else. And it has to do with physical safety. We are in terror of being hurt, of feeling pain, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, any kind of pain. We're just so afraid of pain. And And so it distinguishes how much women are paying attention to safety, physical safety, like all the time. There's some part of us all the time dedicated to that. It's why it's so hard for us to go to sleep. We can't sleep anywhere. We have to feel safe. And in being effective with women, everything is about making sure she feels safe. And she feels safe when she feels seen and heard and someone's interested in her and that they're taking into account what she's asking for. So if she asks a question that she thinks is a little question, like, where should we go on vacation? She thinks that's a little question. She doesn't know she's speaking to a protector and a provider who on a vacation probably wants to have fun, relax, make love, do something new and interesting, all the while that it's safe, it's affordable.
Yes.
The time frame makes sense. And, my boyfriend and I were going to go to Mazatlan this weekend. No. That was vetoed by the safety department. And it's not worth the risk. And it's so funny. My son's there, and he said, well, my friend Robert said it's safe here in town. He just wouldn't drive to the airport. Not knowing that us thinking of flying into Mazatlan, that was the end of us coming.
Yeah.
He goes, I'd still do it. And I didn't want to say, would you have your mother do it? Because I knew that would hit him hard. So I didn't say that. I just let it be between Dan and Jeff and the safety department. But women don't know that. They think, where do you want to go on vacation? Where should we go on vacation? Are similar questions. Instead of, no, one is desire and one is reality. We don't know that. And so if a woman asks a question that's going to require some thought, some thinking, some planning, some time with yourself to figure it out, instead of just not answering, which is what men usually do, you just don't answer because you don't state the obvious because you think it is obvious that you have to think about it. If you could overcome, just waste time and energy on the obvious, okay? I know it's going to seem that way, but it'll save your life. Spare a detail. And just to touch her, be sure to touch her. Honey, that's a great question. And that'll take some thought, and that'll take me asking you some questions about what you're looking for on a vacation. Could we put a pin in this and set up a time on the weekend to really talk about it together? That together word is very important. Together? You want to do something together?
Oh, that's amazing. And what I love about that answer is I would have never thought about wording it like that. And it's truly amazing to hear you say that. And I almost guarantee if 10,000 men listen to this, maybe 100 of them would have thought of wording it that way, and only because probably someone taught them to speak in that nature or speak that way, and they were able to learn that. Corey, would you have worded it that way?
The touch part I would have definitely glossed over. I would have missed that. And then the wording I definitely would have fumbled.
Yeah, that's
completely. Yeah. So I think the two most important parts I probably would have. Well, I have.
Yeah.
Let's be honest about it. Yes. Not would have, I have, because I've had that exact same question and did none of those things.
Yeah, I definitely would have fumbled
that
one.
Awesome, Corey. Can I give you guys something else that might save your lives?
Sure. Yes, please.
Oh gosh. So we teach women about men and single focus, and that men go from one single focus to the next single focus. And how they get from one to the next is through transition time. And the most common transition times, men have transition rituals. And one of the most common transition rituals, I mean, we could have cavemen in this scenario, and they would do the same thing. They would come back to the cave. They would set down whatever they caught. They would unload their implements. They would take off their bloody clothes. And then they just go and sit and be for a bit where nobody needs anything from them. Nothing is asking anything of them. They just give me a minute to chill. Chris Rock has a hilarious comedy scene from about 20 years ago about that. And get in the door.
Yeah.
And yeah. Now, if as a man, part of your transition ritual from, say, work to home, gym to home, anything to home where she is, if part of your ritual was checking in with yourself and giving her a heads up, because we're all kinds of everything about you coming home. We might be all Twitter pated hoping you know our pretty new haircut, or we may be pissed because you didn't take the trash out, or we have some serious things to talk about. Like we have a whole thing going on, and if we gave each other a heads up about that, like even if it's a voice text saying, honey, I love you and I want you to know I'm coming home exhausted. I'll try to kiss you back, but I'm going to come in and lay down. And when I'm recovered, I'd be so happy to have time with you.
Yes.
If that was just it, or honey, I had a great day. I got lots of things to tell you. I want to hear about yours. Do you think I could go first? I'm so excited. Can I go first? So just preview of coming attraction. This is who's coming home to you. Can we adapt to each other? And that kind of partnering where, we just don't naturally slide in. Right? So, and again, that would be a detail. You would be sparing a detail.
Yes. No, that's in
putting a little anchor in the future focus when you get home. And gosh, I wish I could just save you all from.
Well, I honestly, I send so many of your videos and I send your information out to men and women, and I'm like, listen to this woman. She is on point with this, and it's funny to me because when I love that first of all the book Queen's Code, but also in different clips you talk about women have this power. You can bring about the frog or the king.
Yes.
And this is something that I've always thought of my entire life, because I can go through life and be perfectly fine. And sometimes, actually, the only time that I catch myself where the worst version of me can come out is when I'm having a discussion with a woman. And I'm like, okay, especially now, I'm 45. You're supposed to control you, sir. This is your message. So why are you getting upset over this situation? Who cares if their tone, what tone they're taking, what they're saying, how they're saying it, if they're raising their voice, whatever. I'm supposed to be in control of me. And ever since I was a little kid, the one thing I would say is, I am reacting to you. Do you not understand? Like, if Another man would not speak to me this way. Another man would not dare do this because they know there's repercussions. And I can't do anything but sit here and be quiet when this is happening, which makes me feel like I am a child being spoken to in a certain way. And I understand I'm supposed to be in control of me. And I always thought, I'm like, men go to war for women. Men will do there's nothing I wouldn't do for a woman that I love. And it's mind blowing that there's this constantly. And I don't know if I have a question. It's just, can you talk about the frog and the king?
Well, I could. Can I unpack that experience first?
Yes, by all means, yes.
So I come from what if there's a good reason for that, right? What if there's a good reason for what she's doing? What if there's a good reason for your reaction? If we can unpack this, no one's misbehaving. Everybody's got a good reason, even if it was that they were triggered. Well, what were they triggered by? Right? So one way to say it is, if you survive, like literally what's real to you is your survival depends on your productivity. Your survival depends on producing results, getting to the destination, causing things to happen, bringing home the carcass, bringing home a lot of carcasses. And if that's where it's not, we don't have to think about it. It's just, duh. My survival lies in productivity. Therefore, being trusted and respected is an imperative. If I am not trusted, if I'm not trusted, I'm not respected. They go together. And if I'm not trusted and respected, I will not be invited to the big hunt. I will be catching bunnies on my own and spending more calories than I'm catching, and we will die. And so respect, what's perceived as disrespect and a lack of respect. So a lack is just kind of disrespect. It will enrage people certain that their survival depends on productivity. It will just do that. It will make you furious. It will bring out the caveman because you've just threatened the caveman. Does that make sense?
Yes,
okay.
Completely.
Okay, so there's only one thing that brings out the worst in men better. And I would say it's in the hierarchy of instincts, which I've been watching this now for years. And I wish I can't use the word Trump anymore, like as in a card game. It completely pisses me off. I grew up on Pinnacle, right? So,
oh, nice.
Exactly, Pinnacle, hearts, right? Spain, all that stuff. So one overrules. We're going to say overrules the other. So providing, which is the mode that women want men to be in, it's the mode men want women to be in, where we're just overflow giving to each other. It is overruled by the need to protect. And protect something, like protect the balance sheet, protect the bank account, or in the instance of disrespect, protect yourself. Right? So in the way that women communicate with each other, it is often experienced as an attack. Why did you do that? That's an attack. That's so disrespectful, right? So driving a man from providing back into protecting himself from us, But what's even worse is that procreate overrides protect. Just look in nature. Every species risks its life to reproduce. This is why we have to teach safe sex. We're inherently about it. No smell thinking of balls. So I live in Steamboat Springs, and there's a video on YouTube of two elk. No, I think it's moose. They're fighting, bashing each other in the middle of a ski run while people are skiing around, utterly focused on this thing they're doing. But procreate trumps, overrules, provide every time. And it is the most primitive kill anything for. And it is also entirely take energy. It's the opposite end. This is give. This is take. Take anything you can. And then, so when I was saying there's only one thing worse than disrespect to bring out the worst in men, lead with sexuality. Throw him off balance, throw him into his most primitive instincts by accentuating curves, skin, lips, shiny hair, which means you're fertile. Like all the things that we know instinctively, and our culture just, oh my gosh, blows it out and over all the time. And so we're literally antagonizing a man and then expecting him to be a gentleman. Antagonizing him a man and expecting him to be caring and protective towards us when we've just set him back on his heels. And human spirit, higher consciousness, prefrontal cortex, caring, love, heart, all the amazing qualities of men, generosity, you guys are awesome. But almost no women know that. In fact, they think you are the person that they cause you to be by how they're interacting with you sexually and with disrespect.
That's truly amazing. That you touched on a few things that I talk about, that society has evolved faster than biology. And I tell people, and what I mean by that is the rule sets have changed in society. And it was very confusing for me because, one, raising a daughter and a son and making sure that they understand the world. And the conversations I've had with my daughter are completely different. It's like, hey, I know guys are going to say this. I'm a guy. Please believe me when I say they could be the greatest guy in the world. They are still thinking this. And they may not mean it. They may not mean to think with that, but that's what's happening. And please trust that. And so, very blessed she did. And the rule sets just seem very confusing. And you mentioned Chris Rock. Patrice O'Neal has a comedy skit where he's talking about, women in the workforce, and they're showing cleavage and they're showing this. And he's like, you don't understand. I'm a bear. And it's like fish dipped in honey, and you want me not to go raw and go like this. And he goes on a tangent about it, and it's hilarious. Yeah. And I try explaining that to people. It's like, look, you can't kill our instinct. We haven't evolved past this point. I don't care what society says. And listening to you just describe that makes me think of all that. It's still hardwired in us. And you're basically describing how it can be, how our caveman side can be brought out of us. Yes. How it's easy for me to say, control yourself. And it's easy to say, don't lose your cool and don't raise your voice and don't ever be like this. And I I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yes.
What can I,
Yeah,
how can the king be brought out? Is basically where I'm going with that.
Well, okay. It's so funny. I don't know if I've ever talked about this. Okay, this is relevant. It may seem like I'm going in a different direction, but it's relevant.
I got you.
And you were asking me, like, how do we bridge this? Right? We have the opposing instincts. How do we bridge this? And I have this thing that I call units of discipline. And from my point of view, discipline is costly. It's an extraordinary amount of energy, discipline. And so I don't want to spend it willy-nilly. I protect my units of discipline. So I figured out many years ago, I was standing in the store in front of a Mint Milano bag of cookies. And and I realized that, there were 12 cookies in the bag. And I realized if this bag was at home in my kitchen, I would probably have at least 36 arguments of discipline in the process of eating all 12 cookies. Yeah. And so I had two solutions to this that each only required 1 unit of discipline. One solution was just eat the whole bag. You only had one argument. You lost it. Eat the whole bag.
Yep.
The other was exercise the 1 unit of discipline of leaving it in the store. Just leave it in the store. Yeah, it works really well. So I'm going to do something, if I may. We will send you, we'll give you the link and we'll give you a code so all your listeners can get a free Making Sense of Men book. And I want the men to get this too, because it distinguishes between the kind of attraction that causes men to want to take from a woman and the kind of attraction that causes him to want to give to a woman. And that ultimately romantic relationships are a lot of give and little take. Look, give me some of that. Right? Yes. So, but as a woman, it teaches women what men are responding to that has you all care about us, care for us, want to contribute to us, be our mentor, our brother, be accountable for making us happy for the rest of our lives, be our husband, right? Versus like, oh yeah, I'd tap that. and that, and that, and that. Right? Like,
yes.
And what we have to do with that, how we can cause that, right? You can control you. Women are trying to control men. You can control you and what you're appealing to in men. Now, why I would have men read it is so that you can see what you're responding to when they're triggering the worst in you. And what you're responding to when you're finding yourself with the biggest expenditure for a man. I think it's bigger than discipline for me, that you care. Caring is your biggest expenditure of energy. It's your biggest risk. Caring is your biggest risk. Caring also, though, gives you purpose, right? So it's that front of the hand and the back of the hand. You both need it and want to avoid it because of what it costs. And so if as a man you can see what you're responding to in her, then you can make decisions. This is another unit of discipline. If I'm attracted to a man physically, I just stay away from him. Or besides my boyfriend.
Yes.
No, I don't stay away from him at all. It works very well for him. But anybody else that I might find myself attracted to, no, if we're going to work together on something, it'll be on the phone. Like I'm extremely loyal, and I have a unit of discipline. One, stay away in order to keep being that way, to be faithful. So, we each have our part, and that's my fascination. So what's my part? The part that I can cause, the part that I can be accountable for, that I can strive to be count honorable for, that people know this is who I am and respect me as such and ask me for the things that would be respectful to ask me of. Ask of me, which is a thing for men, right? Ask me for what I can give, and I'll give you all I've got. Don't ask me for what I can't give. And that is everything to do with timing. And women often ask for what they need urgently at times when men can't give it, and they mistake it for won't give it instead of bad timing.
Yeah. That's powerful. Because we're getting close to the time, while you were speaking, something went right through my brain and it made me think about something. It made me think about, I believe you were talking with Chris.
Williamson?
It was a recent, yes. And I'm a big fan of his, and like, it was such a great conversation, and you two had the energy in there. It was like, it was amazing. And so you talked about how, and I've heard you talk about it in another podcast as well, but you talked about men need to stay focused on their purpose and don't give don't allow themselves to get lost in giving all their energy to their significant other. And it made me think, when you were talking about that, I'm like, man, I needed that message like 15 years ago, because my ex-wife, who I'm very close with, we share beautiful kids. The constant struggle for me was, you're not working enough. Okay, well, I'm building a business. I'll work even harder.
Yes.
Well, now you're working too much. And it was the constant of trying to meet their wants. And until I got to a point, I'm like, I can't give you what you want. It's like, it's not aligning with me right now. And this is what I have to do. And I learned that skill so late in the game. And can you talk about why it's so important that a man doesn't make his significant other his everything all day long? Please.
Well, I'll speak to it from both sides, because then it helps. First, if I may just say that women think that they want to be their man's first priority because how much interest and attention, which is our access to connection, just like trust and respect is access to productivity. The right kind of interest and attention is access to connection, which has us feel safe. We think if we were a higher priority in your life, we would get enough of that to feel safe. Not knowing that ultimately, K-woman never feels safe, and she's never going to feel safe. And there's no amount of attention that's going to cause that. That is a conscious choice of the prefrontal cortex and the crown chakra, connection to spirit. I am safe enough. And so that's why we think we want that. But if a man makes a woman his first priority, she'll end up feeling really unsafe. She'll lose respect for him, and he'll occur to her as needy. Like he's just, he needs so much from me. Like, go to work. Can't you find something to do? And as I was talking to Chris Williamson about your capacities, I mean, it's true for women, and in a different way, we have enormous capacities. So a woman just focused on her romantic relationship, that's all she's about, gross. She becomes so small, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had a friend who said to me, I'm going to have to lose weight just to fit in my life. I've made it so small.
Mm.
Like, so
That's crazy.
so we need purpose too. We need
Mm-hmm.
something we up to. We need our own definition of great that we're committed to being
Mm-hmm.
in life, in the world. What is our part? What's our piece? Whether it's a one-on-one thing, right? Or it's a much broader thing we're trying to cause. And as men, the amount of testosterone, first of all, that you have in your bodies, the hormone of ambition and well-being and focus for you guys. I'm sorry, we keep trying to take it away. And much of it is unintentional. We don't know. We teach us at understanding when we don't know that when we tell a man to just listen, we've just put him in a cage and his body is releasing the hormone aromatase, which is turning his testosterone into estrogen. So he's being biologically emasculated by you, and that's why he's fidgeting. Not because he doesn't love you or care about you or is interested. It's because of how you set him up. Yeah, so we teach all about that kind of stuff. How to set up a man so he can listen. It's so important and interesting that we started with it. So I'm going to start something here that we're going to have to follow up with in a few months, okay?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Ultimately, it is critical that men have a purpose because we are opposites in another way. Women are ever present to life force, to life flourishing, to thriving. That's what all that nurturing is about. It's about preserving and expanding life. What I just found out about in August, after 34 and a half years of studying y'all, I found out that men have the ever presence of death.
You just literally described my marriage, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is why you need purpose, because dying is so much easier for you than living. Being human sucks. There are so many more sources of pain than pleasure. No wonder we chase pleasure. And especially if you could have died today and you might die tomorrow. I didn't discover the ever presence of death. It was dropped into my head like the Queen's Code. It was a movie I typed. And I have spent the last 6 months just in awe of how many things about men it makes sense of. And to your question, purpose is one of them. If you don't have a purpose, you don't have anything to live for. And so why not just bail? This is excruciating, this life on this planet. And what women don't know, for example, is when we have problems, we hide them from you because then you'll think we're perfect. Not knowing, as so many men have said to me, when a woman I care about has a problem, I have a purpose. Let me at it.
Yes. Yes. All I want to do is solve that problem. Let me at it. They're like literally.
Yeah. Well, it was men who taught me a complaint is a problem you won't let me solve.
Yeah.
And
wow.
read between the lines about that. That
Corey snapping his fingers.
That is so brutal.
Yeah, oh man. There's so many. I hope, please let us do this in a few months, because you just touched on things in I'm going to ask a question and don't expect to answer because I know we got to go. But one of the questions, and I'm hoping that at some time I see it on a clip.
Okay.
One of the things that I've been thinking about listening to you, is there a difference in the things that you're talking about and even the biology when you look at different cultures? Because me being mixed and growing up in a predominantly Black and Hispanic area my entire life, and then moving to an area where it's completely the opposite.
Right.
It was like I was like, whoa. The women are different.
The short answer is cultures express instincts, and cultures have different ways of expressing instincts, but I have found the same instincts everywhere. And it's part of the culture that this is how you do that. This is how you protect. This is what you are protecting and how you protect it. This is what's right to provide. This is what's better to provide. This, but it all falls into the same categories. Make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah. Alison, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
I before you go, I don't get to say this to a lot of people. Your energy, I literally feel like it's looking through my soul. And I've only been around that type of, I'll even say it, that type of woman a few times. And I can understand why the men in your life will go to war for you at any time. And thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for sharing so much knowledge.
Welcome.
And I look forward to speaking to you again.
Yes, we will do that.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. You control you. We're out.
Shit, I'm about to go wait in this place when you dropping the bass in. The beat inside the streets of awaken. I'm making to break my foot off of somebody's ass. I'm waiting for someone to say my name so I can annihilate them. Okay, yeah. Everyone was screaming the rape when I was kicking at the gate till it caved in. Belly scraping by, but now I'm paid. Look at the paper I raked and I'm caking like Jay-Z and Drake. And I hate when people say that I ain't killing shit. The game is my playpen. I punch you in the face and end up breaking your break bands. I'm far from Hollywood. I'm posted up at the days in. Even though the industry say I'm the latest sensation. Drop the song at the board show. Becoming complacent. Mama saw me on TV with just a bum in the basement. You would catch a saber. I fuck your baby mama in the